Trust is the invisible energy that strengthens a team's performance. And this statement carries a depth that goes beyond mere words, because when we try to understand how human beings function in groups, whether in business, sports, politics, or even small family settings, the unspoken truth is that trust acts as the binding force. Scientists who study group psychology and organizational behavior often highlight communication skills, motivation theories, and leadership styles, but they do not always fully emphasize the unseen but powerful energy of trust, especially the trust directed toward a leader. This trust is not just a matter of liking someone or respecting them casually. It is a psychological contract that transforms ordinary individuals into a united force, willing to put in more effort, take greater risks, and believe in possibilities that may otherwise seem impossible. When a team trusts its leader, the environment changes entirely, because fear of failure gets replaced by the courage to innovate. Hesitation gets replaced by decisive action, and doubt gets replaced by confidence in the direction being taken. Consider the example of a scientific research team working on a groundbreaking project. Every individual might be a highly qualified scientist, trained to follow data, logic, and experimentation, but in the middle of uncertain results and repeated failures, data alone cannot fuel motivation. It is the trust in the project leader that keeps the team believing that their work has meaning, that their persistence will pay off, and that every setback is just a stepping stone to discovery. Trust acts as an invisible energy here, because no one can measure it with formulas or charts, but its impact is visible in how the team refuses to give up. Without trust, the same scientist might work mechanically, avoiding risks, fearing mistakes, and eventually producing safe but unimpressive results. With trust, they are willing to walk the uncertain path with passion, because they believe their leader is guiding them towards something bigger than themselves. In sports, this invisible energy of trust is perhaps even more evident. Imagine a football team where the coach has gained the full confidence of the players. When the coach tells them to play aggressively or try a new strategy, the players follow without fear, because they believe the leader's vision is reliable. This trust transforms into a level of performance that shocks the audience, making ordinary athletes achieve extraordinary results. Scientists can analyze body movements, training schedules, and diet plans, but they often underestimate the emotional chemistry created by trust. Players who do not trust their coach may hesitate on the field, fail to take crucial shots, or argue with each other, leading to a breakdown in performance. Yet when trust is present, the team seems to act almost as one mind, each player intuitively supporting the other, and the leader's instructions become a unifying rhythm that guides everyone toward victory. In workplaces, trust in leadership creates environments where employees feel safe to express their ideas, to admit mistakes without fear of punishment, and to collaborate without hidden agendas. Studies in organizational psychology reveal that when employees trust their managers, productivity and innovation rise dramatically. But what is often left unspoken is how this trust operates like energy. It cannot be touched, but it can be felt in every interaction. When an employee believes the leader has integrity, competence, and genuine concern, the employee invests not only skills, but also emotions into the work. That emotional investment is what leads to late-night brainstorming sessions, creative risk-taking, and loyalty during difficult times. In contrast, when trust is absent, people may still show up at the office and complete tasks, but the spark of passion is missing. They do the bare minimum, avoid risks, and silently look for other opportunities. Science can measure productivity levels or employee turnover, but what remains difficult to quantify is the quiet force of trust that makes the difference between a thriving company and a struggling one. What makes trust unique is that it multiplies itself. When one person in a team trusts the leader, that trust slowly influences others, creating a ripple effect. The invisible energy spreads, and soon the whole group begins to act with shared confidence. This is why armies have historically been able to achieve incredible feats under trusted generals. Soldiers face life and death situations, and no amount of training can erase fear completely. What pushes them forward is the trust that their leader will not betray them, that the strategy makes sense, and that their sacrifice has value. History is full of battles won not by the largest armies, but by the most united ones. And unity comes only when trust flows from leader to follower. Science can record the number of soldiers, the terrain, or the weapons used, but it cannot fully explain why a smaller army sometimes defeats a larger one. The hidden explanation lies in the invisible energy of trust, something powerful yet often unacknowledged. Trust also impacts creativity in surprising ways. Neuroscientists have studied how the brain responds under conditions of stress versus safety. When individuals feel fear or doubt, the brain's creativity shuts down, focusing only on survival responses. But when people feel secure, supported, and trusted, the brain opens up, allowing innovative thoughts to flow. In a team setting, this sense of psychological safety often depends on whether the leader has earned the trust of the group. A trusted leader reduces anxiety, encourages freedom of expression, and inspires courage to try new things. This explains why some companies become hubs of creativity while others remain stagnant. It is not always about funding or resources. It is about the level of trust within the organization, especially trust in leadership. Science acknowledges the role of psychological safety, but often stops short of highlighting how crucial the leader's trustworthiness is in creating it. Another dimension of trust is resilience. Teams that trust their leaders bounce back faster from failures. For example, a startup company might face financial losses or product failures. If the employees trust their leader, they see these failures as temporary obstacles, believing the leader will find a way forward. This belief fuels persistence, and persistence is often the hidden ingredient behind success. On the other hand, teams without trust see failures as signs of doom. They lose morale quickly, blame each other, and eventually dissolve. Here again, scientists can measure stress levels, financial losses, or performance drops. But what is harder to quantify is the inner resilience powered by trust. This resilience is what allows certain groups to continue until they finally achieve breakthroughs that astonish the world. Trust also reduces the hidden costs of fear. In many organizations, people waste energy protecting themselves, covering mistakes, or playing politics because they do not trust leadership. This wasted energy drains performance. But in trusted environments, all that energy is redirected toward the actual mission. Employees collaborate openly, share information freely, and focus on results rather than self-preservation. This unseen shift creates enormous efficiency gains. Science can calculate productivity numbers, but it rarely addresses how much energy is wasted in mistrust and how much can be unleashed when trust becomes the foundation. Furthermore, trust creates emotional alignment. Human beings are not robots. They are driven by emotions, hopes, and dreams. When people trust their leader, they align emotionally with the leader's vision, making the entire group move in the same direction. This emotional alignment is far stronger than mere instructions or rules. It creates passion, loyalty, and a willingness to go the extra mile. Without trust, even the most detailed instructions fall flat because people follow half-heartedly. With trust, even vague guidance can spark enthusiasm because the followers believe in the leader's intentions. Scientists can map group behavior patterns, but they often miss this emotional synchronization that trust creates. Lastly, trust in leadership has the power to turn ordinary people into heroes. When individuals believe their leader values them and will not abandon them, they often discover strengths they never knew they had. History is filled with examples of ordinary workers, athletes, or soldiers achieving greatness simply because they trusted someone's leadership. This transformation cannot be fully explained by skill training, IQ, or resources alone. It is the invisible energy of trust that awakens hidden potential and fuels extraordinary performance. Good luck, and thank you.